All right, everyone. So, welcome back to Inspired to Thrive Empowerment Summit. With me, Melissa Bates. I'm here for you, but I have another amazing expert for you. This girl is Lexie Wilson, and she is a motivational speaker, but that's only one title. And we're going to dive into more of that in this interview, but I'm going to save that for y'all to figure out. But let me tell you, this girl's energy is magnetic. It's absolutely beautiful. As a lot of the people here, I met her on Instagram as well. But just hearing her voice as well as seeing her Instagram and just what she feeds out into the world, I knew that I needed to connect with this beautiful lady. So here she is. I'm so excited to introduce her to you guys. So Lexie Wilson, welcome on in.
Hey! Oh, I love it.
Get it, girl. I already feel like I have a lot of energy, but I feel like I'm going to feed off your energy so much more. So thank you for all of that.
Try to rein it in because I tend to give out a lot. So I'll try to rein it in.
All right. So welcome. And introduce yourself to these beautiful people in the audience.
Yes. Hey, everyone. I am the Lexie Wilson. Yes, the one and only. And and I'm so excited to be here. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Melissa, for even allowing me to be here because I just love being able to just empower people and motivate people, inspire people. Because that's something that when I was growing up, I, struggled with a lot of times feeling like I belonged, feeling always out of place and feeling like my voice was important or my opinions were important. So over time, I learned how to, develop my self-esteem, learn to believe in myself and trust my own intuition. And the more that I learned how to do that, I first originally started working in therapy, and that's what I thought I was going to do, but eventually transitioned and over into speaking and working from home. And with that being said, it's like I love using all the things that I've learned, both from my education and my personal experience, to help other people kind of find their way and find their voice. So that's what I'm here to do. And yeah, that's all about me.
All right, I love it. I dig it. I get she
Yeah.
up there. She got in real quick and she was like, all right, let's move on, y'all.
Right.
Okay, so then we will dive into, well, I know her backstory, but I don't know all of it, but I know a little bit. I need to know
Did your
more.
research?
Yeah, I did the research. I did the research. But okay, so I know that you started as a therapist,
Mhm.
and then how did you kind of go from therapy into motivational speaking?
Well, what's funny is, okay, so I've been speaking all my life. You could probably tell. I, so that was kind of like a given. When I was a kid, oh my goodness, when I was a kid, most people would be like, oh, she's going to be Oprah. They thought I was going to have like a radio show or, talk show. Like everyone was like, she is going to end up doing some sort of speaking. So my mom enrolled me in Toastmasters, which is kind of like a speaking group to kind of train you to learn how to speak properly. And so I started doing that when I was 12. And then she also put me on mock trial, which is basically learning how to be a lawyer, but it's for kids.
Okay.
And so that also kind of trained me to learn how to gather my thoughts, make sure that I'm speaking from a place of fact, and not so based on emotion. However, because I'm very, very emotional, I didn't love it because emotion is everything to me. My energy is everything. So I started speaking in churches. I started speaking at conferences. And just because I was so talkative, that's where basically people were like, put her in the church, put her in the pulpit. What is she willing to do? Like, what can she talk about? And I just love to talk. So my life started with talking. That's really what I started doing, and talking in church. That's where everything really began. And so then when I went to college, I got a degree in therapy. I got a degree in family studies and social work, and then my master's in therapy. But professionally, then it's like I was doing therapy. That's what I did. But people could still tell she is a speaker. So whenever they needed something for a meeting or for a conference, it was like, Lexie can do it. So speaking has always been my first love. It's always been what people noticed about me. And then they just plucked me out and said, let her speak. And professionally, I ended up just doing therapy because I didn't know you could go and just become a professional speaker.
No, that's That's freaking awesome. And I feel like your mom, I feel like your mom was just like, what can we do with her?
That's true. Because let me tell you, I had the energy you see now is contained. When I was a kid, holy smokes. Like, I was probably the worst kid to babysit, the worst kid to, just because it wasn't that I was like a brat. I just was a lot. I had a lot of questions. I had opinions. I was like, oh, we doing this, we doing that. I've always been like the leader kind of attitude. So I think my mom was just like, we need some way to just chill her out. So this is what she's going to do. So she always had me in some sort of activity. And then just because talking is so natural, it was just like, well, put her on stage, like that'll work. And it kept me out of trouble. And I like to do it. Like my grandmother was a teacher, and then my mother, she's now a mental health nurse, but she homeschooled me. And so I had these women who were really big into education, really big into leadership. And so I think that by watching them kind of lead that lifestyle too, in terms of truly embracing their voice and then doing what works for them, it did give me a sense of like, oh, I want to share. Like every time I learn something, I want to share it. I want to do this and do that. And it makes it also easier for me to go through stuff. Because I've definitely not had an easy life by no means at all. I just come off like I do because I turn everything into a lesson, you know, and I've definitely had my moments where I've just been down and out and just all the things, like most definitely. So I am not some like, you know, goddess energy kind of like I never go through stuff. That's not the case at all. But at the same time, because I do turn everything into a lesson, that's how I cope. So it's what it naturally kind of feeds itself into that speaker energy, because you're always looking for, you know, something to teach someone else, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I totally connect with you on the fact that you kind of take situations in your life and you turn them into lessons. That's what I always do for myself, as well as with anyone that I speak with. If they're going through something, I'm just like, okay, well, let's, you know, go through it. And also, what can we learn from this? Like,
Yeah, because it makes it so much easier. If you can have that mindset, it makes it so much easier to go through stuff. Because then you realize like there's a point to this. This isn't just like God trying to punish me or the universe trying to punish me, you know? And I used to think like that when I was a kid. I used to constantly think like, why did this bad thing happen to me? Because I would have so many things happen in my life that were 100% unfair. And when I tell people, you know, my childhood and things like that, they're like, whoa, you know, that is so unfair. But what has gotten me through that when I was a teenager was switching it and learning that it's like, you know what, if I'm going through this, then this is going to help somebody else deal with this. So I have to figure this out. I have to learn how to get through this so I can help someone else, whether it's my little brother, my cousins, or eventually other people, like all of that. And so that's what's helped me to cope, so I don't get stuck in this mindset of like, why am I so unlucky, you know?
yeah, I dig that. I feel like you honestly live a better life too when you can switch to that.
Yeah, you do. Because you don't feel so victimized.
It's like you can take yourself out of it and just
Yeah.
kind of be an observer of the situation.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
with you bringing that lovely topic up, if someone is kind of in that point where it's like they're still in that maybe victim mode or just don't quite know how to deal with it,
Yeah.
how would you say like maybe the first one or two steps to kind of switch over to being able to look at situations as a learning experience?
Okay, yeah. Well, the first thing is like, do not judge yourself. Like whatever your reaction is, that is your reaction to own. The privilege of being you is that you are you. You get to decide what your life looks like, what your mindset looks like. All of that is up to you. Good, bad, and ugly. So with that being said, it's like, if you feel like, man, I just wish I could get it together, but I can't seem to get it together. I'm not as positive as this person. I'm not as whatever. That doesn't serve you, because you're judging yourself and you're putting yourself in this, you know, negative space. So the first thing I think when it comes to that space, when you recognize like, wow, I am not in the right place and I need to switch over, is start from a place of love. I'm doing this because this is what's best for me. I want to feel better. This isn't about me trying to prove anything to anybody else, or, you know, prove my mama wrong and prove my cousin and my baby daddy wrong. Like this ain't that. This is about you saying, I want to feel better. I want to show up more. I want to feel happy. And so as a result of that, instead of staying in this place, because I love myself, I am going to learn how to get through this. I'm going to look for the things in this situation that makes this good for me. So sometimes, like, for example, if you've had, something didn't work out that you really thought was going to happen. And so now you've been in this bad space of just like, why does this always happen to me? I feel so unlucky, all that stuff. Come from a place of love. I want to feel better. This is about me. But then as well, look at how is this problem perfect? So this not working out for me can benefit me this way. I thought that if it worked out, this is what I would get. But you know what? The fact that it didn't work out is actually kind of good because, so look for those things that it's like, because it's so easy to dwell on why this is so bad, how this not working out actually hurts you because of this and all these different things. It's so easy, but if we really are honest with ourselves, we all know that it's literally just a switch of perspective. That's it. You're choosing to look at it this way when you could look at it that way. That's it. So ask yourself, you know what? This not working out actually works out because now I can do this. Now it opens me up for this. Now I can pivot and I can change what I was thinking I was going to do. Or you know what? Secretly, deep down, I kind of was hoping it wouldn't work out because I wanted to make room for this. Look for those things and start to make that your new affirmation instead of the affirmation of this doesn't work out. Nothing ever happens good. Nothing good ever happens to me. This kind of stuff is always what goes on. Those are affirmations that you're creating. Switch the perspective. Start to look at what makes this problem perfect.
You are speaking gold. You're speaking to my soul.
Girl.
As you kind of like went through that, I was just like, in my head, I'm just like, yes, this is what you do, Melissa. This is why things are like, I feel like also this is why you're able to excel because you are truly able to see the beauty in things. Even though it might feel like someone just stabbed you in the heart, but sometimes that stab in the heart is, I'm a little woo-woo. So
me too, girl. Let's do it. Don't open that door, girl. Because I am woo.
And I feel like the universe directs you in ways, and sometimes you just gotta flow with it. You open your eyes to what's happening. It's because there is a direction that you're being pushed in and led to.
Right. And sometimes it's like what we really have to, and now that we done opened this door, I'm gonna go through it. All right, let's go. Okay, because I actually am certified as a Reiki practitioner, so I'm super into energy. And one of those things, it's often in that darkness that you find who you actually are and what you actually want. So we're tempted to walk away from darkness, to walk away from shadow and say, oh, that hurts. That's too much pain. I can't do that. But listen, everything great is on the other side of that pain, on the other side of loss. You have to go through those things in order to actually find who you are as a woman, as a business owner, as whatever, as a spiritual being, all those things. But there's a darkness that we all have to go through. Nobody's life is perfect. Nobody goes through this life unscathed. Even the richest person that you're thinking, oh, that person never has any problems. Boo, she got problems too. Okay. And so we all have to recognize that those things are going to happen. The good thing about it is that if we can see that darkness and that pain and that loss and that struggle as something that actually builds us up, makes us stronger, gives us what we need to succeed in life and our business and everything that we want to do, we will look at those challenges as genuine opportunities to show up in a new light. Do you know what I mean? And so that's so it's like, but it's a shift in perspective. When something bad happens, it's okay if your first reaction is woe is me, pity me, victim mentality. That's okay. But then it's time to switch. How does this work for me? Because I truly believe that everything is working out for the highest good of everyone involved. Everyone. So even when I'm looking at the most painful situations in life, and listen, we've all dealt with some painful situations, and there's a lot of unfairness, especially in these times. There's a lot of unfairness that we're all experiencing. But if you can take that mindset of knowing that even now, even when you're looking at that unfairness, everything is working out for the highest good of everyone involved, it changes how you look at things. And it's like, okay, this still hurts me, but something about this is for my highest good. Something about this is meant for me to level up. So let me keep my eyes open. Let me keep, and this doesn't mean that every time something bad happens, I'm optimistic. I am not. That is not the case. but, but it does mean that deep down in my heart and in my mind, when I am crying in the middle of the night and I am feeling alone and I'm feeling angry, I remind myself that even in this emotion, this loneliness, this isolation, this pain, all this stuff, that even in this moment, this is still working out for my highest good, that I need this moment of breakdown because it's for my highest good. You got to keep that in mind, even when you're sitting there breaking down. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, girl. I feel
Girl.
like you're just hanging out in my head. I'm like,
It's cool in here.
oh my God, so much gold, so much gold. And then since you did open up that little energy thing over there,
open it up.
So what would you say to an individual that maybe is coming into realization that the energy within their body is just not very good? How would you kind of give them tips on to start transitioning that energy to be brighter within inside of them?
Oh, now this is so me. I love this topic. I love this topic because I think that, first of all, if the person recognizes that their energy isn't good, you deserve a freaking award. And let me tell you why. Most people don't recognize their own energy. That's just truth. They are not self-aware enough. They think the problem is outside of them. Everything is, well, this person and this person, and if that person didn't do this. So if you're even in a space where you recognize like, oh, my energy ain't right.
Yeah.
Girl, can we just drink to that? Right? Because that is the first thing. So congratulations, okay? But then it's like, in order to shift, girl, this is everything. In order to shift, it's all about, I truly believe that spirituality, energy is in everything we do. Every single thing, even the thing that feels like, oh, that's so practical, there's no spirituality in that, girl. There's spirituality in every single thing. So I think when your energy is not right, to me, what it means to me is that there's an absence of spiritual connection. You haven't tapped into that. You haven't fed your spirit. And I personally believe that we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. And a lot of times we feed our humanity, but we neglect the spirit. So that's where the energy kind of gets off, because instead we're trying to feed our ego. We're trying to feed that person's ego. We're trying to meet that person's need, all these other things that the spirit sits and lies dormant and is kind of like, what's going on? And then as a result, you end up turning into someone that you are not meant to be because you're not feeding your actual self. So some of the things that I like to do is I have a spiritual practice that I do throughout the entire day. I wake up in the morning, I have candles that I light. And for me, it's not about, it doesn't always mean anything. Like for somebody else, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. To me, it means something. When I'm lighting that candle in the morning and I'm saying prayer and I'm saying gratitude, that is my way of kind of allowing my spirit to speak first, to say like, thank you for the sun this morning. Thank you that I have a beautiful home. Thank you for my business. Thank you for this body, this vessel that I have. Thank you for the fact that I love to speak and that I have found my purpose. Thank you for the fact that I just feel in alignment. Like I go through that gratitude, and my candles help me just because I like them. They're just pretty. And so, they just make me feel spiritual. I don't know. But it's like, I like to light them because it just sets a mood. Mood I feel is a really big thing, and doing things to feed that. So I think first thing when you're trying to shift your energy is start to find ways to fill, to make everything you do into a spiritual practice, whether it's by saying prayers or saying gratitude, whether it's like, if you like to pull cards, same thing, pull a card. If you read the Bible, but it's like, whatever it is that for you, that makes you feel connected to something higher, that's what I want to encourage you to kind of get into, because it's in the process of doing those things, finding those little routines, that you'll start to shift the energy from one of feeling either completely disconnected from yourself, feeling really negative and feeling hopeless, to one of hope, one of, okay, I feel something within myself that feels outside of myself. And then the next thing I want to say too is creativity. Like that is something, and especially as females, we are creators. Okay, that is literally like our vessel is creation, you know. And so if you're not feeding that creativity, and I don't mean the typical like, yes, coloring, painting, all those things are really great. They're really great for meditation as well, so they're great too. But I also mean literally taking time to create something from scratch, you know. Cook if you like to cook, you know, use your hands and create something in that way, but make it a practice of gratitude. Make it a sense of, you know what, I'm so grateful that these fingers allow me to do this, you know. I'm so grateful that my mind comes up with these beautiful ideas of ways to make money, ways to speak life into other people. So I'm going to create this beautiful seminar. I'm going to create this beautiful workshop. I'm going to create this beautiful conference, you know, like get into that energy and then have gratitude in that space. Because when you are creating as well as adding in spiritual practices throughout your day, that's when your energy starts to shift from this negative space into a more positive energy.
Okay, I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm all about it, girl.
It's true. Even like, I mean, obviously, yes, candles means something different to people, but
Right.
when I set a candle like next to my computer when I'm working, it just sets like that environment.
Yeah.
And recently I had one that I loved, and it just ran out yesterday, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
I need to get a new candle.
I know. I got candles too. I'm sitting here with my candles. Girl, I feel you. Whenever my candles run out, I'm like, no, the energy ain't right. I gotta get my candles. I can't work. I can't do this under these conditions. I feel you, because they just set the mood, you know. And it's like we got to do that for more than just sex, you know. Which even then, these days, a lot of people ain't setting the mood, and that's the problem. But I'm saying that it's like most people have an idea that when it comes to sex, it's like, oh, we should probably set the mood. We should get the music. We should get some fragrance, all the things. Life is like that too. We don't set the mood. We just get to work. We just start cooking. We just, you know, start raising the kids. But it's like, set the mood, you know, put the candles if it makes you feel better. Put the music on. What kind of music do you enjoy playing? Like, really tap into, and especially as adults, I think as children, we understand that more, but as adults, we lose it. And so it's like, do that. Don't ever cook without setting the mood for yourself. You know, whether that means music, whether that means candles, whether that means even special lighting. I don't really like fluorescent lights. So I have lamps around my house all the time. I like soft lights. I set the mood because I know that if I do that, it helps, one, lower my own anxieties, but two, it connects me to my spirit self. It makes me feel like everything I'm doing is so much more powerful than it might look, you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
Especially within my workspace, I love a bright workspace.
Yeah.
It's bright, y'all see it's bright. I
Right?
love it. It gives it, there's just something about it. And even as like I look at different spaces to live in, I always judge like how much light is in this home.
Yes, I do that too. I do that too, girl. I don't like, we have huge windows in this apartment, and you know, I live in Chicago, so we don't get a lot of sun, to be honest, and it kind of sucks, and it hurts my soul because I need sunshine. But I try to always get places that have very large windows, and I have lots of lighting in the house, especially because I don't get that benefit of the natural light a lot. But girl, I used to live in Florida, and that is life for me. And I love that because the brightness, like that sun, just feeds your whole spirit.
You energy. It
It
literally,
does.
even going outside for a walk, like you just feel it.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, this is what I needed. This is
Right.
exactly what I needed.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's a good point too. That's another thing to add on in terms of like shifting your energy is nature.
Yeah.
We are so, we're not understanding how much, and this isn't a bash on technology, because without technology, me and you wouldn't even be having this moment. So I'm very grateful for technology. However, we have become so in Instagram, in Facebook, in all these platforms that we have disconnected from the earth. We have disconnected from the air, and we are the elements, you know? And so it's like, you need to put your feet into some freaking soil, like, and just ground yourself for a moment. You need to sit on the grass and just feel the air come across your face. You know what I mean? The next time you wash your hands, truly feel the water running off of your skin, and don't be thinking, okay, well, I got to do this, and then I got to do this. No, take a minute and just feel the warmth of that water. Hear it as it's trickling down your hands and into the sink. Like, be in that moment, be mindful, because you are all of those things. You are water, you are air, you are earth, you are fire. And I think we've lost that. And again, it aids in making us feel disconnected, negative, anxious, depressed, unhappy, all these things, because we're so into these very physical things that we're losing sight of the fact that we are so much more than just a, hard substance. We're more than that. We're fluid. We're all these things. Um, so that's where it's like, I think that getting out into nature, big difference. And even if you're in areas where it's cold, I mean, it is 20 some degrees today. Okay. So it's cold, so I can't, I can't get outside for too long, but I try to get outside for a little bit, just because it's like, I need that. I'm a plant. I need water. I need sunshine. I need air.
Yes.
So that's a big deal. You got to get into nature and get yourself out, and really experience what's out there.
First off, on that note, you literally just made me so excited to wash my hands again. I'm like, okay, let me slow down and feel all that.
Like, how is this girl washing her hands? Like, what's she doing?
I'm just experiencing me. What?
I love it.
No, that's so good. I love being near the water. I'm not near it right now, but whenever I get near it, I love being near it. And it just does something for my soul. Even it's just like that clarity, just walking, just hearing the flow of like the ocean as well. There's something about nature that is amazing, that I truly feel like people aren't taking as much advantage of it as.
We've lost sight of it. I mean, and that can go into a whole nother topic. That's why it's like right now, Mother Nature is angry and she has a lot to say. And it's like, because we have lost sight of her importance to us. We consume her rather than engage with her. And so and so that's where it's like, no, we have to recognize that she is us, we are her. And so as a result, if we do not, do the things that keep her safe, keep her happy, whether that be just as simple as recycling, okay, or just, being conscious of what you're, how much plastic you're using, all these different things. It's like, if you're not taking notice of those things, there is a wrath that Mother Nature has, and we are feeling that through these hurricanes, through all these different things. So it's like, we have to recognize how much nature gives to us and how much we can give back to nature. But I think we've lost sight of that, which again, this is why we are struggling emotionally, energetically. We are struggling. We're so unhappy and we don't know why. And it's like, because we are so not living in our truth. We are not connecting to our energy or feeding our spirit. We're just so disconnected. And so that's what's happening. But if we could start to light that energy up, get back in touch with nature, we would feel a sense of responsibility. It's very hard to go to the beach, because I'm the same way. I love the beach. That's my space. I love the beach. And so it's like, it's very hard to not feel a sense of, I don't want to pollute this, when you're in that energy, when you're always there, or when you appreciate that so much. You're like, how can I take care of the ocean? How can I take care of the fish within this? How can I take care of the beaches? All this stuff. You feel that because you're in nature, because you're constantly putting yourself, and maybe you can't go to the beach all the time, but if you're doing whatever it is to put yourself back outside, you naturally find yourself wanting to care more for your home, And so that's where it's like, I think we're disconnected in that way, because we are so focused on technology. We're not, it's easy for us to dismiss our responsibility to the earth and, all the other things, but that's a whole nother conference.
Right? But y'all already have some homework. After this, y'all need to go for a walk.
Right? Exactly. And wash your hands.
Oh my God, girl. Oh, okay, so I have a little bit of a question on what you said prior, and then we're gonna make a little switch up in here. But first, when you kind of introduced gratitude, and I know that some people go for it full on, and some people are like, that's not gonna do anything for me. What would you say to those people that are like, that's not gonna do anything for me? Like, and also kind of a step to get them started, very easy, like a very easy step to kind of get them practicing gratitude.
Okay. Yeah. I can attest to that, because that's me. I was that girl for a long time, that I was like, okay, you know, Ian would say, practice gratitude. And I'm like, okay, all right. Like, I'm grateful to be alive. Okay. Exactly. Like, what is this? But you know what's funny? It's like, it is true. If you come from a space, if you actually focus on what you are grateful for, what makes you happy, you will end up becoming happier. Not only one, because you will probably chase that thing more because it makes you happy, but you'll look for other things to be grateful for. So I think the great thing, if you're already in a space where you're like, I don't think that's going to work, no worries, no worries. That's okay. I'm all about no judgment. So don't feel like, one, something's wrong with me because I don't agree, or two, I don't know how that would work because it doesn't seem to work for me in the past. Be in that energy. It hasn't worked for you in the past, but you know what? I'm going to open myself up to it and see what will work. I'm going to commit to this for the next week and just see if it will work. I'm not trying to convince you. You don't have to become Miss Gratitude today.
Yeah.
No, I just want you to be open to it, you know, and don't judge yourself for where you are right now. Right now, you're skeptical. That's okay. So it's like, I'm all about, you know, kind of being where you are and saying, and that's okay. And then moving forward, you know? And so that's where it's like, if I'm skeptical, okay, I'm skeptical. I don't think this is going to work, but all right, I'll try it. That's the attitude that I'm more so looking for than the attitude of, all right, I believe, let's do it. Like, girl, you're not there. You ain't gonna do that. So no. so so it's just, you know, and then yeah, look, like, think of something right now that you are genuinely, when it comes to your mind, you're like, man, that feels good. Like, I'm so happy that I have that. That could be your kid, that could be your man or your woman, that could be your business, that could be, you know, whatever it is, something that just comes to your mind that you're like, man, I'm really grateful for that. I'm just, it makes me feel good. It might not be a big thing. And then it's like, I want you to do that for the next 2 weeks, where you're actually just taking a moment every day, morning, like when you first wake up or when you go to bed. You could write it down if you'd like. I really encourage people to journal because that's my thing. But literally take a minute and just think of one thing. And I don't want you to just think of it and say like, yeah, I'm really grateful that I have a car. Moving on. Like, no. I want you to take a minute when you first wake up in the morning and just think, man, I am so grateful that last night when I cooked dinner, it didn't burn. Like, that just made me feel good. It made me feel good because I just can't cook. And last night I really did that. And I'm proud of myself. That feels good. Feel that. Be in that moment. Really feel like, what is it that made you feel good? Is it because you can't cook and for the first time you actually did something that, you know, you haven't been able to do? Is it because your kids actually liked the meal and now you're like, wow, I feel good that I actually made them feel good, they enjoyed what I cooked? Is it because it gave you time with your family because you sat down together watching television or talking about your day over the meal that you slaved over? Like, what is it that you actually feel grateful for? And I want you to celebrate that one thing. I'm not saying create a list of 20,000 things. I'm saying celebrate that one thing. Feel that moment. Give yourself a couple of minutes. I'm not even saying meditate for 10 minutes on this thing. I'm saying give yourself a couple of minutes to genuinely feel, why do you feel grateful for that? And then move on about your day. I'm telling you, if you actually do that every day, you're going to find that throughout the rest of your day, you're looking for, man, I'm grateful that my boss let me get off early. Oh, I'm really grateful that I'm going to be able to actually go visit my mom this weekend. I'm going to, like, all of a sudden you'll start to look for those things that will make you feel that feeling that you started with that morning.
True.
Yeah.
True and true. I was definitely that skeptical person that's just like, okay, I hear all this. Everyone's like happy and thankful and stuff. And I'm a thankful person. But I
Yeah.
was like, I don't need to write it down. I'm
Yeah.
good. But
Mm-mm.
once you write it down, it really elevates it into a new awareness for you. It's
Mm-hmm.
true. You literally go through your day, even if something happened bad real quick, like nothing crazy, crazy bad, but like
Right.
something real quick that you're just like, oh, damn, you're like, oh, it's okay. Like you brush
Yeah.
it off so much easier. Um,
Yes.
so
And
yeah,
even the bad things that happen, I will tell you, because last year I was in an accident. It wasn't a horrible accident, but it was an accident enough, you know? And because I had started practicing about that time is when I really started really practicing gratitude. I actually found myself grateful in the middle of dealing with the police, dealing with the person. They were trying to create a lie and all this other stuff about how things went down. It ended up working on my favor because it was obvious that I wasn't at fault. So yeah. But I do think what helped me during that time, when the police showed up, we're both in a state of being frazzled. This is Chicago. Okay. So this ain't even like, oh, it's okay, boo. No, it's like you yelling and you like all these things. But I was able to stay calm because I felt like, what the hell, and I was angry, but then I was like, you know what? I'm so happy that she didn't just cave my whole door in. I automatically started looking for these things. And then even when she started losing her mind, and she had her kids in the car and everything, and she's losing her mind and all this stuff, when the police showed up, because I was in a different state of mind, they were talking more to me because I was calmer, and so the whole situation ended up working out very easily. I was able to drive away, no problems, nothing at all. But I honestly believe that a large part of why that situation went the way that it was because I had started practicing gratitude practice. So I wasn't frazzled by something that was very bad. That's not a good thing at all. It's not a minor thing. And yet I wasn't, again, I had my moment where I flipped out and was like, what, who just hit me? But then once I realized, like, okay, at least my car door isn't snapped all the way in. I can open it. I'm okay. Her kids are okay. I was able to go into that space. I just sat in the car then waiting for the police, while she's flipping out and yelling. I'm not even in that energy because I'm just in this space of, at least this didn't happen this bad or whatever. But I really believe if I didn't have that gratitude practice I had just started really doing, that whole situation would have went differently. Totally different.
You heard it from her. And
yeah.
And that's something, like, even, going through that as well, getting into a car accident, senses are heightened and everything like that. So many people, I've seen so many people not very cool in that. So kudos to you.
Girl, I was proud of myself because everybody knows who I am. So everybody's like, wait, what? You didn't yell? You didn't. So I was proud. I was like, oh, she don't know who I am. So I'm just going to sit in this car. Because I could have lost it too. But it's like, that's the thing too. I've always been so jealous of people who could stay calm in really crazy situations, because I was not that person. And I still get tempted when I'm dealing with really crazy situations. I'm tempted too, girl. But because of these little things that I'm doing, of like practicing gratitude, really infiltrating spirituality into the rest of my day, I do find that it's a lot easier for me to keep a level head when everything else is chaotic. And I tell you, there is nothing better than that feeling of watching everybody else lose their minds. And you're just sitting there like, I don't care. Like, it feels good. It makes them go crazy. And I love it.
That is true. That is true. I've seen some people, and it's just like, even in grocery stores, I'm like, whoa.
Yes. Especially in grocery stores. I've seen some things. People are crazy out here, girl.
Oh my God, seriously, I love the hell out of your energy. It's insane. You are freaking amazing. You are freaking amazing.
Thank you.
I already know she's amazing. You could tell. But I want to change this up a little bit.
Yeah.
And not only is this beautiful lady a motivational speaker and just capable of dropping knowledge bombs on you all day long.
Thank you.
Owning the hell out her network marketing business.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring that in here because I know it's a topic that some people are just like, I don't know about that, but she is excelling, and I wanted to just have her share her story, because there's so many opportunities that we kind of just push away from ourselves because we don't take the time to really dive into them and see what they can do. So girl, get up on in that.
Yes, girl. And I love network marketing. And it's so funny because I was telling her before we started, my mother, when I was a kid, I think I was 19 or 20. And there was a summer in between college, and I'm at home, I had to find a summer job. And I saw an ad in the paper, and this is back in the day. Okay. So that just says something. And but what's funny is, like, technology has moved so fast that you could say that and it's like, it sounds like you're talking 1980, but I'm literally still talking 2000s. But anyways, but I saw an ad, and it was for a job. At the time I was living right outside of Atlanta. And so it was for this interview, and I was so excited. I told my mom, I was like, oh, this job sounds amazing. I went down there, and it ended up being a network marketing like thing. And I felt so angry. I was like, what? And then I drove back home. I told my mom and I was like, can you believe it? They want me to pay to get started. And I can't believe this. This is crap. And my mom told me, she said, listen, if you have to pay to get started on something, that's not a real job. It's a scam. Don't do it. And so that was what was in my mind for years. So every time somebody approached me about network marketing, I was like, girl, that's a scam. That's not real. You're not gonna make no money in that. That's not gonna work for you, girl. I was literally, one of my friends works in another network marketing company, has a ton of success, has done very well for him and his family. I mean, they are fully 100% in their business, taking care of their 3 kids and everything with it. And I still was like, nope, that's a scam. I was so skeptical. I did not believe. And so it's interesting that the thing that I found the most success with, in terms of not just financially, but in the sense of feeling like I have a purpose. Because even though like I love to speak and I often end up speaking in network marketing, the community that I've now created, the community that I'm part of, is really what I was missing before. It's one thing to speak and then you like show up and then you disappear. But when you have a community of women that you're leading, that you're coaching, that you're supporting, and my therapy background ends up coming in a lot in that case, because a lot of times the things that are in the way of their business have nothing to do with business. It's personal, it's mental, it's all those things. So I'm grateful that I have that degree. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's where I ended up finding a lot of my purpose, is helping these women to find themselves and recognize you are worthy of the money that you want. You are worthy of the leadership that you know that you have within you and want to show up as. And then giving them the tools to be able to do that. And so it's become kind of like a ministry in its own way. And so it's crazy that something that I was so skeptical about, was taught to believe that this is never going to be effective, ended up being the thing that I found the most happiness in. And then, also made some money. So, that works too.
That works too. Okay, so then would you care to tell them which network marketing you work for?
Yeah, so I work with Monate, and so it stands for Modern Nature. It's a hair care company. Yes, do it. And so, and so, what kind of got me into that, even because, like I said, I had a friend that also was doing a network marketing company, but it was like insurance and health and stuff. And there's so many things. Like, I love the industry as a whole. I think the one great thing about the industry is that there are so many areas. So if you're not into hair, but you're into fitness or you're into personal growth, there's literally something for everybody. And that's what I love about network marketing, that you don't have to only stick with one thing. Now, of course, you want to pay attention to that comp plan, girl. Okay. But, but at the end of the day, though, there's so many different things that you can show up in your personality and stick with something that's in alignment. And for me, hair care, which a lot of people were like, hair, why would you do that? But hair, I mean, that one, everybody needs hair products. So that's number one. It's something that's very practical. But at the same time, it also is, it connects us to so many things. It connects, like, we feel more spiritual based off of what we do with our hair. And it's not about having hair, because sometimes people just shave their hair off and it makes them feel more spiritual. So it's like, connecting with this crown of yours can also help you in so many ways to feel confident, to feel connected, all those different things. And then for me, on a practical level, I was having issues with my scalp. And I literally could not find anything that actually worked. And it was visibly like I would get horrible flakes, and it messed with my confidence, because if I had like a speaking event, I've definitely, had to reschedule just because I didn't feel confident, because I had flakes all across my scalp and it was visibly white. And I knew I would be on camera. I knew I would be in front of, 1,000 people or something. So it's like, it hindered my ability to show up the way that I wanted to show up. And so when I found products that actually worked, it was like, okay, well, I'll use them. And then I did use them. And that's when it was like, after a while, well, what's the point of me just using them if there's a way to actually earn an income just by sharing something that I'm already using? So that's how I ended up with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is doing big things, though. Big
Yeah.
things. Y'all. That said, if someone wanted to kind of jump into network marketing, but like, what would you tell them to kind of reassure them that it's a good it's a good place to kind of start. Or anyone that's like still in that like, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to make an income and things like that. Yeah. So what reassuring words would you kind of give them, just because as you've gone through the process for years?
Right. Well, the first thing is you probably won't make any money at the beginning.
Mhm.
That's just the truth. There you go. We done. Close the door. Like, because listen, at the end of the day, so I've worked in network marketing, but I also had my LLC. And so that was for my coaching business. I did therapy, then went to coaching, then went into network marketing. And I still have my LLC because that's now with my speaking business, everything like the Lexie Wilson, all of that, which costs a lot of money. So here's the first thing is a lot of people get really thrown off by having to actually pay to get started. The reality is that everything you've ever done, you've had to pay to get started. Everything. In order to become a doctor, you had to pay to get an education so you could be just in the interview. That don't mean that you're actually going to become a doctor. It just means that this is giving you an opportunity to show up. You know, when I worked at Applebee's as a hostess at 15, I had to pay to get some khakis, some non-slip shoes. I had to get the Applebee's shirt. I couldn't just show up in my regular black shirt and khakis because I can't get the job. I had to pay to get started. And so the idea that having to invest in yourself in order to get started, let that out of your mind, because that's a ridiculous notion that we've used to try to protect ourselves from schemes, which do exist. Pyramid schemes do exist. But the difference between the two is that with pyramid schemes, there is no product involved. It is you just putting money in, but you're not getting anything back. No paycheck, no nothing. And there's just this promise, illusion that something's out there. That's illegal, but there are people who still try to do stuff like that. So avoid that sort of thing. But when you get started in network marketing, no different than when you get started in a speaking business, when you get started in any industry. Like my aunt owned a store. First couple of years, she wasn't making any money. And that's just the truth. And yet she had a storefront. She worked in the Bahamas. So you would think that she'd be making lots of money. No, she made enough to keep the lights on and to buy inventory. But she personally was not getting a paycheck for a couple of years. That's reality. That is being a business owner. The typical business owner doesn't return profit until 5 years in. So the idea that in network marketing, it's going to happen for you immediately, if anybody tells you that, that probably is a scam, because that's not going to work. You're not going to get paid immediately. It's going to take time. So I think that's the first thing, is recognize reality. Now, the beauty in network marketing is that unlike traditional businesses, one, you can get started with an investment that's much cheaper. So for example, if you were going to start a McDonald's, right? Network marketing and franchises are very similar. So let's say if you're going to start a franchise of McDonald's, you're going to have to pay minimum of $30,000 to get everything together, to even just be able to say, I want to use the logo, I want to have this restaurant and all that stuff, right? But you might not turn profit. Well, with McDonald's, that's a bad idea because you probably will. It's McDonald's. But what if it was something else, like Anytime Fitness, you know? Ain't nobody going to the gym. So it's like, but it's like, you're going to put up all this money and you're probably only going to make enough to keep the lights on, to keep the equipment good, you know, but you might not actually earn money. And with network marketing, the difference there is that you could end up becoming a millionaire within 2 years of consistently showing up in your business. That's probably not going to happen with the franchise. And so that's the difference, that it's like there is the possibility that you can earn a lot of money at a faster rate than in the traditional business. But here's the reality, and I tell this to every girl on my team, the reality is, unless you know what you're doing, and unless you are willing to show up and you're coachable and you recognize like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, I need support, this is probably going to take you a minute, because there's a lot of breakdowns, a lot of mindsets, a lot of actions that is going to have to be called out, switched, changed, and everything before you can actually see the financial profit as a result of you doing the mental work, the spiritual work, and the emotional work for you to start seeing finances show up in your bank account. So give yourself the time, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a lot. That was a long answer.
I love that you kept it real, because some people just fluff it up and then people get in it and they're just like, but what? And then it's like everything just crumbles. But I feel like when you lay it all down, people know what they're going to get into, so they're ready for it and they're ready to continue on that building process to get to.
Right.
So thank you for laying it all out there.
Yeah, and I'd love to do that, because I think I don't like the fact that there's so many there's so many people who make it seem like it's a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
And that was not my experience. And although like my upline, I mean, she killed it. She is a millionaire within 3 years. So she really jumped in, but she had a very wide network and she was completely committed, like balls to the wall committed, willing to do whatever it needed to do. And I'll be real, that's not me. I need time. Like I'm not willing to sacrifice so many things in order to get there. So it's taking me time to become a millionaire. But at the same time, I know it's happening. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's going to. It's just there's certain sacrifice. Thank you. Speaking into existence. But it's there's a lot of sacrifice that's required that I'm 100% not willing to do right now. So I have got to get to that space first. But at the same time, it's like I'm willing to give myself that time. I'm willing to do what I can do. And I feel like that's one of the reasons with the girls that I have on my team. I am very upfront with them. I want you to know this truth so that way you don't come into this and then decide 6 months later you don't want to do the business anymore. That's not going to work. But that's what happens because people don't know the truth. They think I'm going to get started and in 3 months, I'm going to be making $5,000 a month. You could, but you probably not. This whole thing is just going to be us laughing the whole thing.
Giving energy out there.
Yes.
Well, girl, you have been so amazing through this interview. Before we get out of here, I definitely want to ask you to let the beautiful ladies in this audience, if there's any males out there, we got you too. How can people work with you if they would love to just get in your space?
Yeah, so you can always find me on thelexiewilson.com, and that's THELEXIE. Do not forget that E, okay? Wilson.com. And so I always put everything up there, whether it's videos. I have started sharing some of my training videos for my girls over on my YouTube, and I post it on my website. So everything is there, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, you can kind of find everything there. And then of course, yes, I am on Instagram. So Instagram.com/TheLexieWilson. It's pretty much The Lexie Wilson everywhere. So it's easy to find me there. But I would love to engage with you guys, to have you guys tuning in, whether it's on Instagram, on Facebook, or on TheLexieWilson.com or on YouTube. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me. And I'd love to especially let me know that you're coming from Melissa so I can give you a little internet hug.
Guys, even just this energy is amazing. Oh my God, so amazing. I love it.
That's my goal, girl. I want to make it feel good.
Made me feel good. I haven't laughed this much in like a long time.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Yes. Oh my God. People probably think I'm just going crazy in here.
Yeah. They need to join the summit. Hello. They need this.
New promo. If you want to laugh, join the summit.
Right? Yes. I love it.
Okay. So yes, thank you so much for your time. You have dropped some crazy golden dimes in here. Golden dollars, whatever you drop.
Thank you so much for even just having me, because I'm like, your energy is so amazing too. I think we feed off each other so well, and so it feels good when you're with a happy person who gets this. And so thank you for having me. I just literally had so much fun.
Oh, I got you. I did too. I had so much fun. Thank you guys for tuning in. You know, I got a couple more experts coming your way. So until then, I will see y'all and have a good day.
Bye.